Hi, it's Malcolm here, and in this video I want to talk about just general trading really. And I've come to this race about 26 minutes out, and kind of deciding whether I want to get involved in the race, whether where it's going, what's happening, and that kind of thing. So 26 minutes out is not always the best place to start. Obviously, there's not much money on the markets. Sorry about the dog in the background. There's not much money in the markets, and you kind of have to decide where you want to go, if at all. So generally, now this is a general. Most of this is going to be general because that's how it actually works. But generally, I look at 2 and 1. So basically, if 2 are coming in, 1's going out, or if 2 are going out, 1's coming in. That kind of thing. Nothing is always true when it comes to racing, but you kind of give yourself some ideas about what's happening and where to go with it. Now, so let's talk about this race this far out. Well, first of all, money. Okay, if you're talking about scaling a system up or a method up, you want to know that when you get to 50s or 100s or 300s or 500s, there's money available to match. So when you're doing small amounts up to 50, maybe up to 100, you can go in pretty much when you like, within reason. I mean, here, if you put £100 into this market here, it's probably going to cause issues. So you'd split your stake up into 20s or 25s and try and get a match without hurting the market too much. This one probably get a little bit more matched. So there's the first thing this far out. But of course, the nearer you get to the off, the more money comes into the market, so it's easier. And I mean, the last 5 minutes, generally, you don't have a problem with money. The other thing is you can see this price is coming down now. So immediately you could be thinking, well, I'll jump on there, which might be a good idea. But I try not to jump on to runs personally, because I think generally when you jump onto a run, you've just kind of looked at it as it's finished. Okay, what you're really trying to do is discover where you think the prices are going. So as I said, I kind of like this 2-1. So if you look at this one's coming down, this one's coming down, but this one's kind of going up. So that's a classic for me. So if I was going to get involved in this race now, I mean, I don't like putting in lots of money at this kind of price because you just don't know what, and this type of time. But say I did, it could be something like that. Okay. Because I think that's coming down, and so that might go up. But at this time, that is not a good thing to do. But so I'm not going to stay in this long, and what I'm going to do is feed some of that money out. So I could do this, all right. So I'm going to feed out just in case it does go that way. But I don't know for sure because it's a bit early in the day and we don't know. The other thing is to look at is I'm going to draw some things here. Sorry, I accidentally stopped the video. So yeah, I can highlight. So here, okay, there then. So here and here, you can see the amount of money being matched. Sorry, I've gone over that a little bit, but 13 to 15. So even the favourite hasn't got a lot more money on it than the first favourite, than the second favourite, or even the third favourite. So that tells you that there's not necessarily a lot of money coming in for this runner, which may affect the price at the end of the day. The other thing is this early you haven't got a lot of money onto the market either, so we're at 69. So some people go like, I need at least 100,000 on the market, I want at least 20 to 30,000 pound on the runner, and if depending on what you're going to do, back or lay, you might want to see the favourite have a lot more money on it. So these are all the considerations that you take when you're looking at it. Now, there are other considerations like the trading window. Where is the runner at the moment in the trading window? So at the moment, he's kind of halfway through. This one, see, this might have been another mistake, is I took this one on maybe a little bit high in the trading window. So as you can see, it's coming down now, so it's going against me. And this one was at the bottom of the trading window. I think it's dropped down there lately, but so you kind of wonder whether that might turn around and go back up. This one might come down, which it's kind of doing now, and this one we just don't know, but it seems to have been coming down. But so it could continue down, but then if that continues down and that goes up, we don't kind of know where this one's going to go. Now, that's the kind of decisions that we have to make. You know, we're in those positions where we kind of go, well, where are we? Where are we going to go? And where's the market going to go? So being that was at the top, pretty much close to where I was going, I wouldn't normally lay that unless I had really strong signals that at least two runners were going down. Now, the other thing you have to remember with racing is that the cause and effect is obviously the book. Okay, so we want the book to, you know, the book is always going to balance out. Now, at the moment, it's 102. It can sometimes be 101 to 102 and 98 on the low side. So there's always this thing about the book has to balance. Now, the problem is most people think when they first come to it, oh, it's probably in these three. But don't forget, if this is a 10-runner race, the book could balance somewhere else. So all three of these could come down in price. So when there's less runners, it's more cause and effect on the favourites. But when there are more runners in a race, then it's not necessarily that, you know, this one goes up, that one's going to come down. So you have to be careful of those. The other thing you can look at is volume of a race, which is this one here. So this is the amount of volume on each side. So generally, again, this is generally because it doesn't always work. If you see more on one side, then it's likely to go up if it's more on that side. But that doesn't always work. And I unless I see lots more money on this side, then I might think about it. But generally, you can't really tell. But they're things that people kind of use. Money. You see, I've got my system reverse as well. This is lay side. That's the back side, obviously. And so now I don't know. I mean, at the moment, I could just get out and lose a quid or something because it's not gone the way I wanted to. Or I could just wait. I mean, I've got 18 minutes before the off. Anything can happen. The next thing to worry about, though, is that if this goes through the through the 5 down to 4.9, then again, that's telling me that maybe I've made a mistake and this price could go down, because that can often happen. The second favourite becomes first favourite. And it's another thing that you have to kind of be careful of when you're making decisions. So they're kind of the things that you have to look at. I mean, depending on who you are as a trader, you may have other things. I mean, I don't often, there's other graphs like in that Angel, there's these other graphs that you can invoke, but I don't tend to. Is it that one? Because I'm in recording mode, it's not letting me do that. But there are other graphs you can invoke, and these can be different. I just use the Betfair graphs. They're a little bit behind, but they kind of give me an idea of where it's going. So yeah, I mean, now it's just a matter of waiting until the end of the race or nearly off and see where we are. So I'm going to pause it and I will come back in a bit and we'll see where we are. So we're now coming up to 10 minutes before the off, and you can see I've got one of my £2 trades matched. So at the moment it's going in the right direction, but this has crept up again a little bit, so I'm waiting to see what happens there, and that's kind of stopped at 6. So we now are in that kind of critical situation where, is that going to come down, is that going to come down, or are both of those going to go up and we're going to lose our trade? So anyway, it's still a bit slow, so I think we're just about to get that trade there. And because we went in early, we're really I'll get that highlighter again. We're really in line wrong one. This one. We're really in line for those two. In fact, that one's got matched, and we've only got 2 on that one and 13 on that one. So in effect, we're all right. Now we could just trade out now for, 65 pence, which on a £12.20 trade is not that bad, to be honest with you, with this kind of racing. But yeah, so we actually got that decision right as far as now, but will we get any more money off it? We're going to have to wait and see. So I'll come back a little bit later and see where we are. Now this is interesting. We've got one to hold, one to go. Oh, it's actually been I was going to say, because that 586 was probably keeping that there. So we can now wait to see if the price comes down again and make a few more ticks on the way back down. We could go in play because the most we could make is 20 pence, but we could make £3.34 if that horse runs better in play. So by adding the same stakes on both sides of the trade, we've now put ourselves in a better position to make the most of that trade and see whether, well, maybe we can go and run in, and maybe this runner will run really well in play. And if we look at the in-play stats, we could see how well it's run before and make that decision based on, you know, has it done well, or does it normally do better in running than it does before the off, that kind of thing. We can make those decisions. But for now, we've made that trade, and it's just a matter of now finishing that trade off how we want to do it. And as you can see, the price is coming down at the moment, so that trade is actually increasing. Okay, so I've looked at the in-play stats. This is a 5 furlong race, by the way, so they're not the easiest to go in play with anyway. Generally, this horse has not run very well, so I'm not quite sure why it's doing so well in this race, but that is intriguing. It hasn't got a lot of Dob PL, and it doesn't really do very well compared to its price or its rank. Better, this is better than rank, or you know, worse than rank. So in other words, if they do better than expected, that should be a positive number. If they generally do worse, then that's a negative number. Now, obviously, like everything, that could change today and it could win the race. But generally, if you look at the stats, you're not kind of seeing anything here that says, oh yeah, let's go in play with this runner. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to settle out. It's getting near the end of the race, so let's try and settle out. Let's just see if it comes down a little bit. It looks like it's going back up again, so I'm not sure. Let's try and settle out here and done with it, and then we've completed the trade, and that's done, so we can move on to the next one. I tend to use TTS for looking at the stats to decide whether I'm going to go in play with a runner to make a little bit more money if I think it's possible. But you know, I really want to see high MRSs. I want to see good averages, and this race just hasn't got really anybody who's done really well in play, so that might have played out anyway, because none of them do very well, so one of them's got to do, and it may be our runner this time. But you kind of don't want to take chances like that if you don't need to. You've made some profit, stick to it. But again, if we'd have waited a little bit longer, we would have made a little bit more money. But I don't think it was a bad trade overall. Probably could have been better if I hadn't traded out quite so early on the way up. But thanks for watching. If you like the video, please give it a like, and if you want to subscribe to the channel, please subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.
Okay, come on, guys.